Yeah, it's all snowing out.
It's a new place. Everyone had
It's
to.
very-
This is not right.
Well, we were a little worried that people go to the old place, but overall, everyone's showing.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Art of Education and Schools Committee meeting for October 6th. My name is Josephine Ishman. I'm your co-chair for this evening, along with my neighbor, Matt Green. And we are still meeting on a hybrid policy. You can find all the information on the MCB4 website. This meeting is being streamed live on our YouTube channel and a transcript is being recorded. So we're going to start off the evening with our open session where members of the public are invited to speak for 2 minutes on the topic of their choosing. Jesse, do we have anyone signed up?
I think we do.
Yes.
Yes. Hello, everybody. My name is Jeff Gardner. I am speaking on my own behalf. This is not a board or committee position that I'm advocating for. Some of you know that baseball is very near and dear to my heart. I'm involved in baseball in many ways throughout my life and have been lucky enough to recently have met Jeff Idelson, the former head of the Baseball Hall of Fame. And he runs a nonprofit organization called Grassroots Baseball. And they recently completed a national tour of a film called See Her, Be Her, which he co-produced with Gene Fruth, who's a pretty well-known sports photographer. And it's a unique show about women that are seeking to play professional baseball. So as far as the culture of baseball is concerned, I think it's a really compelling movie. And I learned today that if he gets just a few more reviews on Amazon Prime, that Amazon is going to step up and help with distribution and promotion of this very important film. So I would just encourage everybody that has any interest in women in athletics or youth athletics to please watch this movie and give it a review. I think you'll be just as moved as I was. It is See Her, Be Her. It's available to Prime members free, and it's $2.99 to rent if you're not a Prime member.
Great.
Thank you, Jeffrey. It's wonderful. Is there anyone else speaking for the public? No? Okay.
Wait about anything?
Yeah, we're in
Yes,
the public session.
Yeah, 2 minutes.
Yes.
Okay, yes,
Okay.
stand up or?
Yeah, I would stand up.
Okay. My name is Matthew Robinson, some of you know me, just to let you know, I found, we're getting the drawings of PS33. We're getting, the entire collection of both Niger campuses. On microfilm, they're being digitized, so I will be getting them any day now. I've got half the collection, I'm going through it now, some of it's legible, some of it's not. But I'm supposed to be getting 3 more rolls tomorrow. In which case I should be getting PS33, Chelsea Elliott, and maybe the medical clinic.
And Matthew, is this say Chelsea that you're with or what, when you say?
No.
what-
I've got an architectural background, you know.
Okay, you're
I know
just,
the plan,
you're doing
you know,
this on.
we
Okay.
had separate, you know,
Got it.
and
Okay.
I mentioned to you that, you know,
Yes.
that I had them. And what we may be doing is going to the original source of the drawings to get them scanned. But that's a longer process, but at least we're getting some information.
It would be great to have that. Thank you so much.
Sure.
Okay, so.
I have a question.
Yes.
Will you do some sort of assessment or something, or you're just getting them for, I guess, the community board?
For the community board and everyone else that's sort of involved, it's to. Nigel said, we have nothing. And as far as you guys are concerned, there has been nothing, no circulation of any documents whatsoever. The original architectural drawings and the set, the zoning calculations, and everything like that do exist. So if there is any. You know, I know this is the 11th hour of the project, but if the clock turned back. There's a lot of information, source information that's available, or that will be available to any committee. I'm gonna be here every day this week, kind of, the next committee, you know, land use, housing and stuff like that. to let them know that there is progress. Jesse knows some of it, because Jesse's been part of the communication with the source.
Very good.
Sure.
We welcome that information. Thank you so much. So we will move on to our first presentation. We are very honored this evening to have our District 2 Superintendent,
It's me.
McGuire here. To talk about goals and initiatives for this year.
Yeah, no, thank you very much. Yeah, thanks. So yeah, it's great to be here, and I did reach out and spoke a little bit with each individual school prior to this evening's meeting. But I did just want to talk a little bit about some of the big picture things that you might be seeing in New York City Public Schools related to the schools in CB4, or how it is that they relate to CB4. As you, there's a couple of big things that are really capturing the headlines. One of them is class size reduction. So the schools in CB4 are making progress toward class size reduction. Some of them were in a position to be able to apply for additional funding to reduce class size, but all of the schools have made a bit of progress toward reducing class size. And by that, what I mean is that we're getting closer to our goal of 100% of classes falling within the new class size limits. This year, as a system, we need to be 60% in compliance, next year 80% compliance, and then the following year 100%. So in Community Board 4, we are meeting the class size limits for the year, the benchmark of 60% for the year, except for PS 33. PS 33 and 51, I'm sorry, PS 11 and 33 and 51 all have some kind of fluctuating student enrollment, which I'll talk about in just a second. But going into this year, PS 11 is at 74% of their classes are meeting class size reduction. PS 33 is at 58%. PS 51 is at 72%. PS 111 at 69%. And Lab Middle School is at 83%. The schools used a variety of strategies in order to meet these numbers. They hired additional teachers. They converted some classroom spaces into spaces that, some spaces in the building that were not currently being used as classrooms, but were permitted to be used as classrooms, and they converted them into classrooms. In some cases, they split large rooms into smaller rooms so that they could have two separate classes there. And then there is a lot of room sharing. That is something that is very much like coming online in a lot of our schools, is that a classroom that might sit vacant during the teacher's preparation periods is now being used by an art teacher or a specialist teacher that it doesn't need to teach every single period of the day. So they are making progress. Lab had a very ambitious program to try to get their class size reduced, and I think that it was a really good move for that school in particular. Lab has really maintained their class size pretty much steady for a very long time. It's a highly sought after school, so there are infrequent. It's infrequent that there are vacancies or that there are seats there at the school, and so they only have a certain capacity. So they have been able to comply with the class size guidance, but that you cannot reduce the total number of students who are presently in your school. And so Lab was able to do that and have put forth a plan that was approved by teachers, and there's no lead for it. In regard to enrollment, we are, as I said, seeing some continued fluctuation in Community Board 4, except for at Lab. I'm just going to kind of take Lab off the table when it comes to this conversation. But that continues to be because many of the shelters that are most highly used, presently being used, are in Community Board 4. So PS 111 and PS 51, they have both seen an increase in the number of students that they had in comparison to last year. And both of those schools are the zone schools for both the big shelters, the Skyline Hotel and the Row Hotel for PS 51. PS 11, which had previously served students who are living in the Stewart Hotel. The Stewart Hotel has been closed, and so PS 15 or PS 11 has seen a reduction in the number of students who are attending. Then PS 33 is currently steady, but there's always a little bit of uncertainty there that it could serve as an overflow site for some of the classes that are at PS 51. And so that population might change a little bit throughout the year. The way that this works is that the schools that are the zone schools for the shelters, that is the school to which students are entitled to attend if they're living in the shelter. But if a school does reach a class size cap, then we may have an overflow site for a particular grade level. Never really an entire school, but generally for a particular grade level, and so those students may be overflowed. This goes for any kind of situation around the city to a local site. And so, yeah, we're continuing to see some significant change at PS 51, mostly with some students unenrolling and new students enrolling. Just a lot of, and that's very, very hard. I mean, that's an incredible challenge that school has. Just can't say enough about how that school has, and the whole community has managed that the uncertainty of the student population and who's there. So, but they're doing a great job. Can't say enough about the teachers and the leadership at the school and the parents who have just done so much to support some of things. Across the district, we do see a uptick in the number of students who are in our district. But there are fewer students who are living in shelters across the district. We're approaching a point where we were, for a while, maybe had like four times as many students who were living in shelters in the district as prior to the pandemic. I was use that as kind of a benchmark. And now we're kind of twice as many students living in shelters in the district. Along with the class size reduction is just like a general kind of like snapshot of how we're looking at staffing across the district. Currently, we have 12 vacancies that are open for teachers. As you may have heard, there is a shortage in the number of paraprofessionals who are in the district. Schools, and so we have about 60 positions across the district that need to be filled. 12 teachers, that's like the most urgent because those are currently being filled by substitute teachers. And then there's a bunch of positions that would be itinerant, or somebody might be trying to hire like a part-time art teacher, or it could be a secretary or school aide. But the teachers and the paraprofessionals are the two positions that I think we're most concerned about and really want to get folks hired for. But this is, we're steadily making improvements week after week in both of those places. And schools that do need additional supports for paraprofessionals, they can apply for additional certificates to hire substitute paraprofessionals. That's kind of like the gateway into that position. So, yeah, so that we're doing that part. We're continuing to support NYC Reads and NYC Solves. I'm sure you've heard a lot about that. We have been supported with about 20 days of professional learning and coaching for our teachers in the NYC Reads program. Now that number is more like 8 to 11, somewhere between 8 and 11 days of coaching. But thankfully, we have a lot more infrastructure built both within schools and in a district team to support that initiative moving forward. I did talk a little bit about, I think in the past I've been asked, what kinds of things do the schools need?
Yes.
So I've got a list.
Yeah. Teacher and.
And they're individualized per school. So I'm assuming that that's okay to just like go down the list. Okay, so one general thing I will say is that several of the schools are looking to make modifications to classrooms so that they can be better utilized in the 26-27 school year for class size reduction. And a lot of these things are like the removal of like a non-load bearing wall or the removal of built-in furniture. Both PS 51 and PS 11 were they have some requests for that. So it's I don't know how to actually categorize this stuff and how it like.
You'll figure it. That's
Okay, all right. So yeah, 51 and 111, we're both looking for some physical modifications to classrooms so that they can better support class size reduction here. PS 51 is seeking improved outdoor lighting. They said that their schoolyard is very dark, and even in after school hours, they don't think that it is bright enough. And so that is they see that as a real priority. PS 111 has a couple of, but there are a couple of places in the building that are not ADA compliant or are ADA compliant with they are not ADA compliant, but they can get families in who might need that access. So steps up, there's they need a ramp to get into the front door. The front steps are not accessible. And then there's a space in the play yard that needs some additional support. I think this is all in the form of like ramps or like small lifts. At Lab Middle School, they currently they have a really big gym, but the divider is broken. And they have been struggling a little bit to get that divider fixed. Either the replacement of this former movable wall, they said even a curtain would help. But I think we can do better. Well, I think you can do better. No, but you know, it's a busy school with 3 very popular schools in it that are often, you know, full of kids, and a movable wall would be really helpful in programming. And then PS 33. So I don't necessarily, they didn't make any specific requests. It's really my conversation with the school leadership there was kind of a recap of a walkthrough that we did with the Office of School Facilities a couple of weeks ago, or last week, I don't know, but recently. And so there are a lot of ways in which the Office of School Facilities and the School Construction Authority are advocating with NYCHA or through NYCHA to have supports implemented and paid for and installed in order to mitigate the first phase of construction. There's and we've been deep into that, so I don't know how much you want me to like go into any of that
Go
stuff.
for it.
Yeah, okay.
So, yeah.
So I mean, I will just say, I remember 5 months ago, whatever it was, when we first started having this conversation, 6 months ago.
Yeah.
This question of, you know, who's watching out for PS 33 was really this kind of question that lingered, and this was great. I felt like after this walkthrough, it was clear that somebody was watching out for PS 33, and there was a structure by which we could advocate for specific supports through NYCHA with the developer and Essence support the school. So it's just great to walk around with people who really know what they're doing. So they did put together, they're in the process of putting together a letter directly to NYCHA that includes filters that start on the outside of the building with all of these big air intake spaces that are on the outside of the building. They want to initiate the filtration outside of the building before it even gets in. They're looking for replacement of all of the air filters and the air conditioning units, and a review of all of the windows to make sure that they really seal, to make sure that both noise and or dust is kept out of the building. They are looking for the installation of air quality sensors. And there's apparently a pilot program around installing air quality sensors in classrooms. And they're hoping that PS33 could be one of those sites. They have a whole strategy around the mitigation of rodents. That basically looks at like sealing that corner that exists from whatever the ground surface is to the wall of the building. And for every different type of surface that they encounter, they have like different mitigation strategies that they like to see. They know that there will be the need for additional air conditioners because some of them are in need of replacement. They see that as a real need. They talk about additional lighting around the building. This is really just for that first building that they're talking about here. There also is the beginning of some conversation, although it was a little unclear, but there's an outdoor, there are different outdoor spaces. There's a yard in the back and there's a rooftop playground. And so there was just there wasn't anything like definitive that came out of the assessment of those spaces. But they were concerned about that. Right now, the mitigation strategy involves like a wall around one of the playground spaces or the schoolyard space. They also want to make sure that when they take the building down, that there is a wide enough catchment area that is protected around the building, because it's obviously you need a certain amount of like space. So all of that is to be compiled into a letter that will go directly to NYCHA, to Essence and related, that was kind of the start. So I don't know that I don't think it's like a forever plan. I think it's maybe like a for now plan, and then but the best thing I think of this is there's a start for some mitigation strategies, and there's a conduit for conversation and dialogue to happen. So yeah, with that, I'm happy to answer questions or anything else.
I think just adding on to your point with PS33, the principal was looking for after phase one, an area for the children to play indoors. The concern is that there's just going to be too much happening outside. So she had tried to reach out to the rec center, the Chelsea Rec Center, and that conversation didn't really go anywhere. So I reached out to Councilman Boucher's office and asked him to NYCHA have a conversation with the Parks Department and try to figure all of this out. How can they possibly use that gym there as an indoor space?
Yeah.
So, we are getting some responses.
Yeah.
So I hope that leadership there and the parents are feeling more comfortable. I don't know, I haven't really spoken to them. I believe that they are still waiting for the developers to give some sort of direct communication to the PTA leadership there, or just the parents in general, to have sort of a different conversation with them, and that hasn't happened yet, so we'll see.
Correct me if I'm wrong, I mean, I'm just really learning all of this, but in the conversations that we were having with them, it seemed as though NYCHA is the organization that really should be advocating
Yes.
on behalf of the school. That's your understanding.
Yes, it is now, yes, right.
I mean, it
So,
seems
right.
easier to go through,
Yes,
or I feel a little more hopeful going through NYCHA than having the contractor.
absolutely, yes, because they put out the contract, so they ultimately are responsible, yes, so as long as, but it seems that, the principal there has very good communication with them at this point, so I'm very happy about that.
Yeah.
I just had a question about, Midtown West PS212. Are they on track for, I don't know if you mentioned that, are they on track in terms of?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I did, with enrollment. or-
Yes, enrollment, with reduction in class sizes.
Yeah, they are. I can get you the actual percentage of class size reduction that they're absent, but they have, seen a loss of students also. I don't remember what that number was directly or but, this, at present, their number was slightly lower than it was last year. I did look that up right before. Yeah.
Thank you. So opening it up to questions.
So just with respect to some of the helpful statistics you provided, I just wanted to understand, are those District 2 schools within CB4 catchment, or is that all District 2 schools with respect to, short-term housing students and?
Oh, those numbers were to all of District 2.
Okay, and are we continuing, or are you still observing that a lot of students are absent because the parents are fearful of taking their kids to school or picking their kids up?
Yeah, I don't know exactly, it's hard to know exactly why, parents, I'm hearing some things like that are anecdotal. The, long-term absence rate so far is significantly lower, than it was last year, but even at this time of year. It's just the beginning of the year, and it is higher, at our schools that are serving large numbers of kids who are potentials.
Okay, and my very last question,
Yeah,
sorry,
yeah.
for schools that are looking at class size reduction that have capacity limitations, high demand schools that literally have nowhere else to put students, is there an active plan for how that's going to be addressed that doesn't depend on the, the school construction authority or
Yeah, many of us are eagerly awaiting the next phase of interventions that can happen in order to make class size reduction a reality for all of the schools. But I do know that kind of everything that is possible is on the table. The city has not flexed at all on this question of can we reduce the overall enrollment to the school? The one case, I guess, for that is that there have been some schools that are located close to a distributed pre-K center that has an additional space, so that class in one school was shifted to a pre-K center. That's the only scenario in which I've seen that happen. So, but yeah, there's right now the plans that we have in place, really will only get us so far. So we're gonna have to think of some and develop some additional strategies in schools that really are.
thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, my first question is, what is the approved school class size? I'm not familiar with it. And then the second question is that we're constantly hearing about ICE in New York. Are you experiencing any of that at the schools, and how are you dealing with it?
Yeah. So the new limits have, class size limits are 20 students in kindergarten through second grade, 23 students in third grade through eighth grade, and 25 students per in the high schools, and that's compared to 25 and these are still like the contractual numbers with between the city and the teachers union. 25 students in kindergarten, 32 students in grades 1 through, oh my gosh, I can't remember, 1 through 8. And I think it goes to 33 in high school, but I pop on that one. I only have one high school, so I'm not so expert on that. In regard to ICE, I think there is a constant concern, for sure. And I know that some families in our district are starting to, I mean, they've already been responding by, I think, like leaving, moving out of the city. And that obviously should be for a variety of reasons. But we have heard some stories of family members being arrested. So that is starting to hit home in some schools.
Max, is your question?
Oh, yeah, actually, PS 111, the ADA upgrades and the exterior, is the interior already accessible or does that need to happen as well?
There is a elevator in the building, but it is, yeah, it's an emergency only kind of situation.
Okay, is that really the only school that has those ADA needs in the exterior or?
Well, PS 212. You know, I don't know what PS 212 is on your website, but I looked at your schools.
Oh,
I guess maybe PPAS is listed.
Yeah,
it was
right,
PPAS.
yeah.
But I was like looking over it like this, I didn't want to forget one. But yeah, PS 212 is not, anything.
It's helpful, thank you.
I have a quick, so I have my child was at PS 111, you have a great experience, loved Ed Gilligan.
Yes.
And I know that one of the big things that helped them meet sort of this class size reduction and get to these targets is they were co-located with Sydney Middle School, and then they left, and then that fourth floor became a new library, more teaching space, classrooms, and do you know of any other schools where that co-location exists, where that might be a possibility, where you have sort of schools split off from each other to create home space?
We're in discussion right now with one school that is not in community board 4, but PS 40 in the Gramercy neighborhood is co-located with Salt Middle School. And PS 40 is the zoned elementary school. And so we're starting to have, or we did have just some very preliminary conversations with the Salt community about what could be done in that building.
Okay. And then just to confirm, it's 2028, that's the year in which we have to get to 100%. Okay.
and I just wanted to go back to the capital and the expense needs. So on our previous list, we had technology, after school programs and pre-K, pre-K. So what's your feeling about any of those? Should we keep them on the list?
I think that, you know, it's a little unclear. There is this new program that is coming from City Hall with these LTE enabled devices, several of the schools, PS 111, PS 51, they are giving an allocation of web enabled devices delivered to those schools. I do think that that's always, and yes, with you, I don't know, you know, what the timeline is for if a school were to receive funding and then purchase the devices. You know, this is it's really becoming one of those things that has to be constantly
Yes.
upgraded. So I think that there's always a need for technology for sure. 3K continues to be a challenge in our district. Families have been offered a seat, but it's not always in our district. It's often involves a long commute. And so we're always looking for more 3K seats. And after school is also, you know, a challenge. I mean, the schools that have free after school are in such a better position, and it's such a more equitable situation for families. If there's a comprehensive after school program, that's something that I had the #1 issue in regard to, well, I don't know about #1, but it's really high up on my list in terms of quality of life for families and
Yes.
affordability and universal after school for elementary school is really important.
And honestly, what about social workers? I mean, we hear about it from time to time, either in elementary or middle schools.
Yeah. Whether or not they need more of them.
Right.
I do think that the addition of social workers during the pandemic was a really important step for our schools. PS 33 is a community school, and they have all of those rich resources there that come with that. You can always use more.
social workers and family support.
Okay, so really it's the community schools that have them.
Yes.
So, okay. Jesse?
No, you asked my questions.
Thank you.
Sure, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We did, you know, if you want to stick around or if you need to go, I
Yeah.
understand, he's a very busy guy, so. Yes,
But,
yes.
so yeah.
Member of the public has a question.
Oh.
Oh,
yes.
just letting you know, I've got a client who's in Chelsea Piers, who has maybe 15 not monitors, I'm sorry, keyboards and mice, that are wired, that are tossing. So if there's anyone that needs them at any of the schools, you know, get in hold of me and I can get them to you.
All right, thank
We
you.
do. Thank you so much.
Appreciate it. All right, I'll come back.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you.
you so much.
Take care.
So, next on our agenda, we're very excited to have the division with us today. And not only update their building and everything else.
All sorts of fun things,
Yes.
so, and I just thank you all and thank you Jess for, inviting me, to speak on behalf of the kitchen. My name is, Raquel Dutoit, and I am the senior manager of institutional giving. I've been at the kitchen for 3 years now and, assist with like obviously fundraising, but also a lot of government relations, and the capital campaign. So, I want to just briefly go over 3 key points. One is kind of an update of our capital campaign as it impacts definitely community board and our programs and what we're doing, as well as our education and community initiative that is brand new, just so that everyone can learn about that. So to start off with, that's our first page, is like we are the kitchen. We are located, well, our building is located on 19th Street. However, we have now moved to West Beth as we undergo capital campaign renovations. Next slide, thank you. And just so you all know, just a quick history about us, we've been around since 1971. You know, we are a experimental art space that supports emerging artists. You know, we are, you know, BIPOC led. We have the first executive director who is a Black woman, and she is leading. Her name is Legacy Russell. She is leading us, and our, you know, our programming is like dance, music, installation, video projections, all that kind of space in which artists come to explore and experiment. So it's not your traditional like presentation. We actually do a lot of our work inside and within the space, right? And so people are invited to come see that work in progress, see the presentations. Now, with that being said, we closed in 2022 to undergo capital campaign renovations on our 19th Street space. And there has been several delays, unfortunate ones, because of increase in, you know, spending, as we all saw right after COVID. You know, everyone thought we had a plan, and then COVID hit, and the increase of materials like went crazy. So we had to kind of refigure out what those architectural, you know, drawings were. And as we continued on, we saw that a lot of the funds that were, you know, to support the programs were being focused on capital. And so there became a conflict between fundraising for our programs and fundraising for our capital campaign. So within that, one of the suggestions we had that we came up to was, can we switch it to a city managed? Which we all know that if it's city managed, the timeline is extended, right? But we do believe that that is the best course of action, and so we've already approached Lori and UCLA and, you know, the deputy mayor's office, and they're all in agreement that we should do this, because they were like, you have already 10.3 million raised from the community, like from the government. So we're there. We do need to raise more to finalize the whole campaign. So we are looking for approximately another 30 million from the city. We have, and that is where, you know, we come to you all about the support to advocate, you know, with Eric Bloch's office. You know, the borough president has been really supportive, except we don't Mark is leaving, that position. But, you know, all those things that we are here because we really think that we want to get that, you know, through. Also, another ask is we would like to be under EDC instead of DDC. Because we have heard, and you all can correct me if we're wrong, but we heard that through EDC, you can get the project done more quickly. Instead of like the timeline with an EDC is like, we believe 3 to 5 years out versus DDC can be up to 8 years out. So it would, if we can get one of those like lovely,
Do you mind,
yes,
for the folks in the room,
oh,
saying what those acronyms mean?
oh gosh, yes, so.
We can do it for you.
Yes, because I was like, this is my son, so, yes.
So I understand what you're saying,
Yes.
if I'm wrong, that the suggestion was for the overseeing agency was gonna be Economic Development Corporation of New York, right? Rather than the Department of Design and Construction.
Correct,
Okay, so I got it. All right.
thank you.
Yeah. So the Department of Design and Construction, for everybody, is kind of like the construction arm, the general construction arm of large scale projects for the city. So they do everything from water tunnels for the DEP to big DOT projects for the Department of Transportation. And so that's kind of what they do. EDC is more like the economic engine that comes up with private public partnerships and stuff like that. And so that's probably, and DDC obviously has their set ways of doing things and it cost overruns and blah, blah.
Correct, thank you so much.
No problem.
But yes, and so that's also, you know, any advocacy in that regards, we would greatly appreciate that. So we can get this project done because we are almost there. It's like we're across the finish line. And we have done, a huge work, also internally to prepare for that. We have a financial plan. We have a business plan for the reopening of the space. And we're just really excited to kind of move that forward. So with that being said, I want to talk quickly about some of our programs that we are showing currently at West Beth, which is Community Board 2, but we love Community Board to come by and visit at any time. We would like to start off with our dance and process performances. This has been the longest set of series. I know it's already passed, but here's just a really quick ideation. We do serve a lot of BIPOC and immigrant artists. Which obviously with, government funding, this has become quite, difficult. We have, we had to figure out things with the NEA, and, especially, because we literally are everything that, was, I guess, kind of removed from those grants. Next, we have that's coming up, which you're all invited to come and attend, is Will Rawls, who uses dance, stop motion, and animation. This is going to be great because we're also partnering with Performance Space New York, and which is so great because even though we're not in our space on 19th Street, we're able to kind of visit all over the community, and we've been partnering with people like from Upper Manhattan to Brooklyn to Queens, and so we've been able to kind of bring the kitchen, I like to say, to everybody's kitchen. And so Will Rawls is dealing with a lot of like what is the erasure of the Black body, and that opening is up on October 16th. So you're all welcome. It is free to the public from 6 to 8. We are also doing a community programming, which are workshops at the kitchen from West Beth from 3 to 5 on Sundays. And that is for our community partners and programs and more young adults in middle school. Now we do have online, sorry, Dalvin. We do have online programs. So right here is an example of 9 June's Good Morning, Mr. Orwell. It's a television performance between, and they're going to be presented between Paris and New York. So I will send you all the links for that. And it's going to be really exciting, this collaboration. Next one. Lucinda Childs. So this is a site specific. It's going to be located further lower, like kind of like more like Lower East Side area, in which basically they're gonna restage the street dance, and we're closing off the street, and we're looking at it from the gallery space down to the street, and then people also from the street can look upon the, the performances happening. And that one's also free and open to the public, so I just wanted to highlight that. And I believe the next one is our final one for the season, which is Claire Chase. She has been with us for, quite a bit of time. This is her, 24-year commission piece in which she brings in, different, artists to work with her. This time she is, bringing in, an Indigenous person, Ania Lockwood, to do the performance with her. This one is a charged, ticket, just, so you know, we do have a sliding scale so that, it is still affordable, and we do not reject anyone. So like, if you can't afford it, don't worry about it, you can still come. You just let us know, hit me up, send me an email. And so we're really excited about presenting that. I want to talk now about our other, programs, our in-school programs. This is our heart. We just hired recently, Bridget Johnson, who is our managing director for education programs, which is Liberty High School, ours our after school program. Again, this has, because due to federal cuts, has really impacted it, because these are first time English learners that are mostly older students. So, it's between ages of, I would say 16 to 21, who are coming from other countries that are learning English for the first time. And we have just also expanded it to the Lower East Side prep. However, again, due to federal cuts, this has impacted this program. So we are looking for other ways to support this very essential program. We have applied to the Manhattan Borough for support for our community programs, which would be the education programs, which would be this, and obviously DCLA and other recourses. But if any of you think of anything for this particular area, I'd be happy to discuss it further. Next slide. We also have now, it's in the 6th year in its row, an emerging professional focused on BIPOC cultural workers. This is specifically to train and mentor aspiring leaders of color in the arts field. So here we take them all around our lovely Chelsea and got to meet galleries, make the introductions. This will be from, curators to development and or other art administration roles. This is mostly primarily for people who are in university. So it's kind of a workforce entrance. And then I think the last slide. So, we have been part of the West Side Fest. I also brought the swag, my bag for the last 3 years, and we're highly involved with Jane and all those folks there in supporting West Side Fest. So I just want to give a pitch that is something that has brought the community really together and has been able to help support us with our community outreach. We also do group visits, so if anyone wants to bring in a group, let me know. I'd be happy to bring them on. This is something that we had not done in the past. So for senior centers, for schools, for church groups, whoever wants to come and see our exhibitions, it's free, so why not come and see it, check it out. We always have a curator there that talks about the work and exhibitions. And we also, again, going back to the community program, we are having like art workshops now led for all age groups and led also by the artists or inspired by the artists in the exhibitions that we're showing or the performances. In addition to that, we do lectures and panels and, as you saw, our online programs. So I know it was a lot. I just wanted to, say we're here because some folks were like, what happened to you all? And I'm like, we're here. It just, and as we are a small organization, I mean, we're under our operating budget is, around 2.5 mil. So, we're a team of 12. And we do a lot, so a lot of times people forget that, like they see the big work that we do and the artists that we host. And, but we are small, so, yeah, so don't forget about us.
So much for that. Sorry if I missed this, there was a lot of information there, but, so have any work begun on the building in the far? There's some.
So, yeah, so the work, basically, the only work that has happened currently in the building has been, demolition. So they hollowed it out, they hollowed it out, so it is basically, an ice box, currently, just like a box, yes. So that is, also one of the reasons why we want to, push the construction forward, in that.
Are you, is this going to happen once you've raised the 30 million, or are you hoping to start before that?
Because of the way that the CLA works, we have to raise the funds before we can actually start. Yes,
And so it's 30 million total for that project, and you have
Correct.
10 million of that, or you
Yeah.
need 30 million on top of it?
no, we need 30 million on top of that,
Okay, so it's a
Yeah.
$40 million
Correct.
project?
correct,
Okay,
which was originally quoted to us at 20 million, which is
So-
why
okay.
we started, and it was like, we're going for it, and then we started to get the pricing and the changes, and then obviously with the late, we were like, wait a second, where are these numbers coming from?
Mhm.
And then it was traced back that it was done in 2019,
Right,
and so yeah,
so.
that's all I have. Like,
So it went from 20 to 40, and then do you know if you were to switch from DDC to EDC, what the cost savings might be?
I don't know on the top of my head, but I can get those figures for you. I do believe that we are maxing it at the 40 to just for all potential, like we did the 40 as like, this is the worst case scenario.
It's mostly timing.
Correct.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
what would be the timing?
So we are looking at, construction starting on 2029 and hopefully, or not construction, sorry, drawings in 2029 and then finalizing construction in 2031.
Gotcha, okay,
If we do the DDC route, yes.
right, and is DCLA, I mean, it sounds like they are on board with
Correct.
having the cities sort of, take on the
Mhm.
project. Are they also on board with switching from DDC to EDC, and are they helping you with that?
They are on board, they are cautious
Mhm.
about any form of commitment to that.
To that change, okay.
Correct, because I
yeah.
believe, there might be some sort of administration changes with the mayoral
Uh-huh,
shift.
uh-huh,
And so I don't think that they wanna speak,
they will, okay, gotcha,
either way.
okay. Okay, yeah,
But we currently have hired a lobbyist firm that are helping us out with these meetings and so, and we have a timeline as far as like,
Mhm.
check-ins. Also, if you all wanna come, we are planning a legislative breakfast, January 15th. Which is always great. I'm deciding I might do a bagels and then you can choose your, coffee.
Is that a West Bath?
Yes, and that will be at West Bend, and I will send it to you out shortly, but I'll invite you all for that officially. Once it's confirmed, but right now it's on January 15th.
Do we have a lease at West Bend?
Correct, we do.
How
Yeah. We are in negotiations now, trying to figure out with this new plan that we have, that's, well, not new plan, I mean, we've confirmed September, so we were confirmed by DCLA that this is yes, green light, city managed, go for it. And so now we're reworking our lease with West Bend. We don't have any concerns though in regards to that, with West Bend, as of right now, yes.
I mean, I think we all have a shared interest in making sure that this project gets done, like, as soon as possible, that you're back home, that you're back in the community. I think it would be great just to continue to keep us updated with those conversations, especially as we transition into a new administration and we're gonna
Yes.
have a whole new set of commissioners, and I think priorities may change. I think it would be great for you to come back. And we could, make sure we just like touch base, and if you are hitting any obstacles, like I think, we can then figure out sort of what the next steps to escalate would be.
Yeah.
But I think as far as like, you should make sure that you're talking to your local city council member and other
Yeah.
elected officials, just to make sure that, this project continues to move forward, because I know the city has invested $10 million.
Yeah.
So they wanna get it done as well.
Exactly, and that's what they, the DCLA has, we're like, yes, we think that this is possible just because they've already invested that much. And we also have, we have really deep ties with Lori, but obviously we,
Right.
the changes happened.
Lori, just the commissioner of
Yes.
DCLA current, where you come from.
Any other questions?
Yeah, remind me, what's the address of the 19th Street program?
It is, I don't see that it's so far away, 19th Street, I know, it's like, like a 19th Street one.
Very nice to meet
Yeah, it's right next 19th, yeah, it's right next to,
It's like a brownstone building, one of the few that are left on the north side of the block.
it
isn't
it is, here, I have a picture of it, here's the picture, I know, I should have showed you guys the.
What's in that, which is the building number?
Oh,
I know
the building number is 512.
And just going for the other topic that you raised, which is the education programs, because I can see that being something
Yeah.
of concern. Would you be able to like just really rough ballpark it? What would be your budget? What would be your request if you would get going to the city to fund those school programs?
They're about, minimum is like 10K for each of those programs. So we can really run it we were running it on a very bare minimum, and it's 10K would be for, Liberty High School, and then 10K would be for, the Liberty side.
So we're saying 20, I'm sorry.
Yeah, 20K total,
When
yes.
you're going to the city and saying we need 20K
Correct.
out of a $60 billion.
Yeah.
budget, so that.
We just need, we're small, like I said, we are small,
Finding
and
that 20K.
we can do-
Actually.
we can do miracles.
So
but
if we got you 20, 30K,
Correct.
we could reinstate the education program.
Correct, I mean,
So-
currently we have it for this year, like we have enough for this year,
This current.
for this current
we're
fiscal
talking-
year,
okay.
but I'm concerned about 27 and
Yeah,
28.
that's what we're talking.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, that's helpful.
I have a quick follow-up on that one. If 10,000 is the minimum and the basics.
Yeah.
What would be the amount you really need in order to?
Oh my goodness, I mean, wish list.
20.
Well, also, I mean, the question is that, if we would be taking in also to pay for, our staff and, and that kind of thing. I think that, we're looking more at 75K,
Okay.
because I think that, I mean, my dream with this new department is to grow, and she used to work at the Children's Museum of the Arts. I don't, I know folks knew about that, how they closed. And then she also worked with other community nonprofits around Action In community board for, so she's really well versed with the needs of this community in particular. And one of the things that she's trying to do is expand the program. So yeah, I mean, I had been looking at 75K for the entire education program.
Okay.
So no, we're gonna be asking, if you're telling me dream, like 75K.
We're all about dreams.
I deal with dreams too, so.
I'm a-
You get to the
Just two quick follow-ups for that, like I can't speak on their behalf in any way, but you sound like an absolute shoe-in for a West Side Community Fund grant, which is $10,000. And it's a very easy application process. And then likewise, you seem very well fit for Friends of the Highline has a local like community board that has discretion to just give out 10K and off. It's a very informal application process.
Okay,
And I would definitely recommend looking at both of
so it's
those.
the West Side Community Board,
West Side Community Fund,
West Side Community Fund, okay.
This is out of Hudson Guild, right?
exactly.
Okay, yeah, to speak with the cluster, we could email you that information.
Yeah,
And it's
yeah,
right?
Two separate groups.
yeah, I think the West Side Community Fund, the issue was that but I guess if I do the high school community, I can do that way, you're right, actually,
So, food for thought.
yeah.
I just
Or
want
you
to
can send me the exact, what is that?
a little clarification, when you say that you are trying to move from, was it DDC to EDC?
Well,
How are you making that, like, how are you advocating for that, who are you contacting?
we were told that we need to wait until the new mayoral office, and so
Alright.
that's why it's down the line, but once that shift changes, because what has been told to us is that they do not know who will be taking on those positions. Because we are expecting, change in a lot of different, sectors and whatnot, and there is still not a clear, I guess, not vision, but a clear idea of who that person needed to change to fit into those positions or roles. So,
Definitely, so we welcome you to come back then at that time and see how we can support.
thank you so much. I really appreciate you all. I'm really using my cards here. And like I said, I love working with community boards, so also just hit me up. I'm a huge advocate also in Upper Manhattan with my own personal community board.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Sure. Contact.
Yeah. Oh, I have, well, I guess I have.
Oh, great, great.
I'm running enough.
Okay, so I believe,
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Have a good night.
What kind of chips were those?
They look good.
They sound
Cute.
I remember speaking tomorrow, I was in a business meeting last night.
We gotta do what we gotta do.
All right, so we are going to switch over to our committee discussion and vote on our budget request.
Where's the restroom?
Oh, yeah, sure. So I believe it's right out there, and then there's two doors on your right.
Yeah, it's closer to the entrance.
Okay.
Alright, so I'm good. Thank you again.
Take care.
Thank you. So just as a refresher, every year, every committee deliberates on what our budget requests are for this upcoming year. This will be sent to the budget task force by October 17th and then voted on full board. We have, thanks Jesse, an updated spreadsheet of both our capital and mostly capital updates, I think maybe some expense updates. Some of these things have been resolved, like the Columbus Branch Library from last year, which was on the list, so I think we can, check that off as a win for the committee that we got that project underway, and actually I walked by the library, that's scaffold up, they're underway, they're doing the work. But hopefully folks have had time to kind of take a look at this. Could we pull it up? Got it.
Do you want to see expense or capital?
Yeah, let's start.
Capital is the big change.
Yeah, let's go to capital.
Okay.
Somebody had left them down, right?
Oh, sure. Oh, it's like-
Yeah.
Oops. I think I bet you. We might have missed Mike's. Let's see.
Okay. Sorry.
Hi, Mike. Can you hear us? Sorry, we just saw that your hand was up.
Yes, I can hear you. Yeah, I was trying to find out. I did not know the name of the presenter from the kitchen.
Her name?
And of course, I wanted to try to contact her at some point. If somebody can send me the information regarding advocating for local artists and local musicians and that kind of thing. Also, the gentleman mentioned something about a fund that Friends of Highline has. What is that about?
So it's a community board that the Highline organization organized that I'm not a part of it, so I don't know exactly how the vote works, but I am a recipient for some community work that I was doing. That's why I know about it. And effectively, they have members from the community that stretches along the High Line at both the historic and the terminus. And it's very similar to like what you think Community Board 4 looks like. And they have very wide latitude and discretion to just give grants to people. The organization I started was a recipient of a West Side Community Fund grant, which is how the High Line found out about the work that we were doing. And then they came to us and said, hey, our board voted on giving you guys money too. So it's definitely worth looking into.
As far as looking into it, who or how do you contact anyone? Or how would I contact anyone?
It's on their website, right?
I don't know that it was on their website, and the person that contacted me is no longer at the High Line.
So
I will find out.
Okay. Mike, I can help you connect, I will connect you to, tomorrow if you email me, I will connect you to the woman that just spoke from the kitchen. And I will track down someone from the High Line, to work with you on that issue. And then yeah, is that good?
Yeah, that's great. And I do have something for after the next, your next agenda thing.
Okay,
At the end of the meeting, I have something.
okay,
Thank you.
put you back in attendees for now.
Okay.
Okay, great. So turning back to district needs. So
You want to.
yeah, if we could pull up sort of the spreadsheet, a lot of it is very much. A list of our asks from the previous years. Some of we do have 2 new items.
1 second.
Yeah.
I was trying to find the best way to do it. No, sorry.
It's okay.
It's, yeah, but it doesn't have all the right. So, yeah.
And when you say new, do you mean like new news, like added since it was first circulated, or just new for this year?
New for this year, so they are new requests from schools. And then one of the so we'll go through this list, we'll talk about sort of if there are any updates or changes. Things that we need to. We want to bring forward and make sure continue to be on our list. I think the one change though, is that we're no longer prioritizing this, and Jesse, correct me if I'm wrong, by, we're not taking our whole list and then prioritizing it by different items, but it's prioritized by agency. So we would put our items together by the Department of Education. They would have their own list that's prioritized, and then we would have our own list with DCLA. I think we only have one thing with DCLA anyway, but and that way it just streamlines the process when it gets to the budget task force in terms of them sending a final document. I would look at.
Give me a second.
Yeah, it's okay. Are there any questions in terms of anything that people have looked over, or anything that they wanted to bring up? While we sort of get this.
Outside of the library, is there anything else that was completed that we can take on?
I don't think so, but there are some updates, right, Jesse?
Yeah, so I can run you through this a little bit. So what you're looking at right now is the capital requests that we made last year, but in particularly individuals in facilities, right? So you see that the Columbus branch was our highest request. The number on the side there, priority wise, with references to the master overall priority for the entire state and district needs. So that was number 6. And then the next one that this committee kind of got was number 10. So don't pay attention to those because it doesn't matter. Because what we're reshuffling the deck anyway, but then also the fact is that we're doing it by agency this year, which is a huge boon for all of us, because we're not having to try to synthesize 7 different committees, priorities into one master sheet. So, so then what we have here is the normal stuff, your responsible agency, what the overall title of the request is, our explanation, the initial response, which is the agency response. Max knows these very well. Then the final OMB response, Office of Management and Budget, which typically just basically most 99.9% says whatever the agency said, right? Very rarely will they ever go against the agency and say something drastically different. And then we have an update. So that update column is what I got from speaking directly with either the facilities, the intergov person for the agency, or the actual school itself. So and that's what their responses are, is so we can go down those if we want to. I would say majority, besides the Columbus branch, which is great news.
Yeah.
Which again, I will just say is due to I think partly due to the fact that we were so annoying to that about Columbus, because Muhlenberg was getting all of the attention and Columbus was getting none of the attention. And their answers about Columbus over the last 5 years has changed so many different times that we finally made them actually commit to something. But the rest of them are the schools, and they're done by the principals. I reached out directly to the principals, and I got, actually, after this is being the third year we've done this style, I would say they responded like instantaneously.
That's great.
We've gotten so much more better. For the newer folks, we used to like make each of you chase down these principals. We'd give you a principal to chase down.
Right.
And it was like the bane of your existence and the bane of their existence. No one who knew you were, we didn't know, you didn't know the principals. So this has actually been really much more productive. And so I would say 80% of them are all saying, yes, last year's priority is the same
Right.
as this year's top priority. Now, this doesn't recognize that we're asking them to give us their priority. It's not always the same thing that they might be asking, let's say, the borough president for, the council member for discretionary funds, because they're getting money from them. So they're not making that what they're telling us is a different priority that doesn't, this is insane, you know, and so I just want us to recognize that. So you'll see some stuff on there that Kelly referenced, and some of that matches up.
That's what my
And some of it's not gonna match up. Some of it's gonna be like, oh, that's not what Kelly said. So what's going on? It doesn't mean that someone's not telling the truth. It just means that the principal is telling us one thing, saying like, oh yeah, this is a project that we really love funding for, but there's no one funding it right now.
Right.
You know?
So, yeah,
So-
that's great.
Another question, I know we're doing the survey right now of district needs, how will answers to that fit into this process?
So
That doesn't close for a couple weeks, right?
it closes on the 17th, I think. I think it's the
We're
17th.
gonna get the,
No, sorry, at this point.
I can't.
we're gonna get the.
Yeah,
response
that's also on the 17th.
Yeah. So that really just goes to the budget task force.
Okay.
So if you guys are interested in the survey, I mean, we'll make the results public if people want them. But it's really to provide kind of like, sort of like a back of the napkin overarching, what are the top priorities from this survey? Are, and then they match up with like, what we try to do, the budget task force tries to do is at the final project kind of mesh the two together. Usually we're on the same page. I will say typically the survey seems to result in a lot more concern about public safety issues than, than things that come up here and other communities, so.
Yeah, so please do, because we were asked to remind everyone to do, please fill out that survey by the 17th, because that is an important narrative to, advocating for our budget requests. And Jesse said, more of the big things.
Send it to other people.
Yeah,
Like that.
I totally.
I still get it. I wish I pulled this. Finding someone who's gonna be like a bulldog.
Oh, he is, right.
A very polite, sweet bulldog. But he is great.
Have we sent the survey to the schools?
No, it's for board members.
No,
right?
I haven't sent it to the schools. I mean, I guess we could try that. We could try that to the principals or things like that. We should do that. Yeah.
That's a good idea, maybe the PTAs.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sharice. Shanice, by the way, is on the budget task force. so
It's
thank
my
you.
first year.
So again, it's up to you guys. We're kind of in a new territory.
Yeah.
You guys don't have to come up with this master list coming out of this committee. To say, oh, what does a school request is more important than a cultural request, because they're gonna go to two different agencies, so.
Yeah.
It matters how you guys wanna handle this. This is gonna be mostly individual school requests. If you guys wanna leave this roughly the same way as it is now, and say these are all, still our top priority requests, that's what will be sent to the budget task force, saying for DOE SCA, these are still our top requests.
So I think we've had success in keeping some of these issues just on the front burner, just because we want to make sure that they get done. So I think there is real value in sort of making sure that we aren't changing too much from our asks from last year. And as you can see, some of these are still the priorities, right? So the next one down, that's still a top priority for the school. And I think a lot of these remain the same. I think what we kind of need to think about are there any, based on what Superintendent Kelly was saying, are there things that he brought up this evening that aren't reflected in this report? And we also have these two new capital requests at the bottom. So if no one has any questions about what we've previously have had on this list, or if there's anything that is, we should review it, but otherwise I think we should keep this list more or less intact. and focus on some of the new items. That we might wanna add.
Yeah, so real quickly, the two new items really came from my outreach to the high schools. Cause I already had the list.
Which, by the way, is a good thing, since we have not had a whole lot of success with outreach to high schools and we have we have the middle schools and elementary schools, so the fact that we now have some high schools. I think is a good thing to. Just make sure it's, you know.
I mean, we have a handful, but they're kind of the repeaters, so that we always hear.
Yeah, hopefully you'll find it helpful. So John Levin, he's just out of district for CB4, but a lot of kids from CB4 go to Clinton.
Right.
He's agreed to help me create like a working group among our district high school principals. And he's promised that if I send, and we can discuss later, like the language that I should send out on our behalf, that he will respond so that he will get other responses, hopefully, from that. So.
I'm fine with that, I just don't think it's gonna, I mean, it might be difficult if you guys you need to vote on something.
Right,
That's the only thing. So,
It was for 20
Yes, yes.
27, 28.
Thank you so much, Jeffrey. Absolutely. We'll do that for the schools that we haven't heard back from.
Yeah.
Right, but you
So-
got a good amount this time.
I mean, I got a good amount from the responses from last year, and these two are the newer,
Yeah.
the new responses. That I had not, these are new requests all over, or some of them. I think maybe some of them were older requests that we kind of took off the list for a while, now they're kind of maybe back, I'm not sure, I can't always keep track, it's a little hard. But these are the two ones from my new outreach that I've done. And so again. It's like I said, like what Matt's saying is right, I don't know if we necessarily, if one of these, I think in particular. Speaks to us saying, I would say it would be easier for you guys to do, I think, the most be, if there's your like top three. And just put those in your top three, and then the rest, recognizing the rest will just trickle down as you, in terms of these individual school requests, I think it's a more helpful way to do it than feeling like you've got to grade each one against each other. You're gonna be here all night. And then you're getting arguments about whether bathrooms are more important than schools or classrooms or whatever. I think if there's certain ones that you guys think that are just clearly right for right now, are probably the more important. And if they're not on the upper end of this list, you guys should make that decision. I will just say also in my personal opinion, I think the stuff with PS33.
I was gonna say
Yeah.
that.
It's just my needs. Again, it's actually a little bit. I'm worried that it's kind of past the mark, because things start happening before FY 27. It doesn't really matter, this is for FY 27, but nonetheless, I think it's still a good thing to say.
Yeah.
We care about this school, we know the school is gonna be going through a whole heck of a lot right now, and making that a budget priority. He listed off a bunch of things. Some of them are expense, and some of them are, I would say, we fall under capital, but they're kind of all over the place, so. I don't know.
So should we just then prioritize the other schools as well, because they're trying to meet the class size mandate?
Yeah,
What should I say again?
Should we also prioritize the other schools that you discussed, like 51 and 111, because they're trying to meet the class size mandate, so they need to reconfigure some of the classrooms?
You're right, so they said right, the classroom modification stuff
Right.
for PS 51, 111 and 33, I think that. I like that, I mean, again, just me personally, that covers a lot of school. Right, it's 3 different schools, it's the same request for 3 different schools, so you're not having to like. Use one whole priority, waste a priority.
Yeah.
And one separate school, so I think that makes sense.
Yeah, I agree, I mean, I think having. Cause that's something the schools they're gonna have to address, and they don't have the funding to do it, and so I think. If we can sort of put some language together that addresses sort of what structural changes or what do they need to make those modifications. To meet those mandates would be one, like a new thing that we would wanna put in one of the top 3, I would think, and then TS 33 certainly, and I agree, even though. Cause I think we always say this is like more of like a political document than something that, cause we know we don't always get what we want out of this, but it's an important tool to help us advocate for what our community needs. Whether it happens now, cause this is only for phase 1, and who knows what's gonna get in this first phase, maybe some of that stuff will happen later, so I do think. The PS 33 stuff should be at the top of our list. And then the thing that I think we hear also that is a good way to sort of capture a lot of the need the schools have is around technology and like equipment, and there's always a need to update that, and so. If there's a way to sort of capture that, I know this is a new request for $50,000 here. But I know there are other schools that have technology requests as well.
Can you remind me?
This is what the upgrades.
Well, it sounds like in this piece, it's for additional classrooms, is that connected also to the class size reduction? If they have to create more classrooms, they might have the spaces, but they don't have the technology to go into.
Let's see, is it,
Give me a sec. I thought there was more to it. Maybe I'm wrong.
you're looking at this one?
Yeah,
No, that's
But sorry.
just where it says funding to support technology upgrades for these additional classrooms, doesn't really spell out why, but.
Yeah, I think it's a standard technology upgrade request that comes in from schools, cause just things get outdated so quickly. I don't know if it's related to the class size reduction mandate.
I don't remember them mentioning that.
Yeah,
Yeah, mostly the class size reduction mandate was for the elementary and middle school, because they're the ones that were really had to shrink the size. For the high school, I think it's still 33 for the.
Can you remind me, for tech, is that capital? That's capital, yep, okay.
Can you scroll down to the bottom?
Sure.
and so I was looking at the list to see. Like there's technology upgrade at Gateway. I don't know, thoughts, questions about in terms of like how we wanna prioritize some of these, do people agree that PS33? And the class size reduction mandates are two sort of new items that.
When
We
you
should kind of
say,
bump to the top of the list moving forward.
when we say PS33, what are you asking for?
So, yeah, so I think we'll have to put together some language, but it's reflective of, I think, what superintendent said will be in this letter that they're putting together, but it will talk about like new AC units, new air filters, lighting, yeah.
I don't get confused, because I know the letter is going to mention related events, and is the expectation that they are supposed to pay for these things that they're asking for? But we're still putting it in our ass, like.
Yeah, I think we're seeing it as like, again, it's a split, you know, it's not, we're not expecting actually the EOB necessarily to fund it. But we're saying that we're basically implying that there's severe need, and then this is what the request can be. Whether, you know, DOE and the city makes related, and I should pay for it, that's, you know, as they should. I mean, that's up to them, but yeah, it's sort of more of a political statement than an actual saying, oh yeah, we really expect DOE to fund all of this, right?
I do think that PS33 should be at the top for all the reasons that are being mentioned. My only question was, have you heard from, I think you and I spoke about this, but the high school on 49th Street? Graphic arts,
Remind
You know what building it's in?
yeah, I just wanna know, did they make a request, has anyone talked to them? I'm gonna.
I sent out an email to every principal.
Yeah,
I sent out to every principal, I'm just trying to,
it might go through.
so I've got business, so is it the 439 West 49th Street building?
Yes.
So yeah, so that's one of those buildings that's got multiple schools in it.
Yes.
So I don't know if I think I got something from graphics arts, but I did get from business, sports at high school.
Okay.
Which is, what is this right here, the library.
I'll
Which
just
is
reach out and try to find out, when I was there, it was one school, so now multiple
Yeah,
schools
yeah,
are there.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, so,
Yeah, so the same building, right, for 439 West 49th Street, that's got the Urban Assembly Gateway School.
Okay.
Then for technology, you know, and they are big issue is the PA system. So, and that's a building wide request, so that would include. That's your school, correct?
They also want updated smart boards, which should probably be updated.
Yeah, I mean, I think your tech idea like a.
Like we could put, yeah, we could hit it
When
with
every school
that
ever requests that, and then we put that in your second or third, you put that in your third request that covers. Any school that's requested tag. So you've got your class size matter.
Well, and then also class size, how do folks feel in terms of a new priority for the committee and that, yeah? Okay,
Especially if this is FY 27 and then by 28.
We have
Yeah,
mandates.
yeah.
Yeah.
Choice.
okay.
I think he has to be at 100% of that year, right?
20, yes,
29, yeah.
28, 29.
Okay.
Okay, so we got our 3 for the capital, and then, you know, again, nothing's coming off, but we'll make sure that those. And we'll draft some language and we'll get that together and we can put that on this list.
The one thing I wanted to ask this because
And we'll take off the Columbus.
we'll take off the Columbus. I mean, there's some unique stuff here where they basically are saying, we had asked in last year for auditorium, they're saying basically they got this one, number 18. Right, they got some money from the council member for it, but now they're basically the same situation as the bridge, skyrocketing costs, it's too much
Yeah.
money. They would like to use that money, you know, in other projects. Are we comfortable with supporting that? I wouldn't.
No, they should fly that.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
all right, great. Do you wanna look at expense?
Yeah. Just quickly, is there any other agencies on here, like, and we just keep everything the same, right? Is there any capital or is this all expense for everything else?
I'm sorry, for the
For
capital,
the capital.
it's all
DOE.
schools,
Okay,
it's all
right.
DOE and
Okay, great.
and then library. So the expense is the one that is a little bit different.
So we're not doing anything with the kitchen.
Oh, well, that's,
$30 million.
you're a good point, very good point. Do you wanna?
That's a good point. That's a good point.
That's very.
Yeah, I know it's a ton of money, but honestly, we've been losing our cultural spaces. And so whatever we can do to support the cultural space in this district.
We should definitely put it on. Yeah, we should definitely put that on.
It's another agency
Okay,
anyway.
great,
Right,
yeah,
right,
thank you,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be on a separate, it won't be on the, it
Exactly.
won't be on the bottom of the list, it'll be on the top of the list.
Yes.
In terms of capital at least, so.
I meant to ask this, where are they getting the initial 10 million from, or where is the funding coming from?
It's, I know some of it came from the council, and I think she said the borough president.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Okay,
The other thing he mentioned was the aftercare,
Yes.
you know, and affordability,
For expenses, yeah,
Yeah.
we're going into,
That has a
definitely,
priority.
yes.
yeah, we did. So expense request, Maria, can you see that? You do see the change in screen to expense? Okay. Thank you, all right, great. I always get weird if I can change tabs within sharing screen, but it still works. So yes, this is expense, I would say the only highlight there, I didn't get, again, these came out of mostly the conversations we had with Kelly last year. So I was waiting, I don't have any updates, I was waiting for the kind of people to come and have a conversation with us. The only one I think I'm pulling that I think, what I would suggest to pull is this Department of Youth and Community Development. For the last 2 years, they were doing English as a second language program within the HERC shelters. We don't have any more HERC shelters, the program is not in existence, so it doesn't make sense to continue that request, in my opinion. But everything else is up for discussion.
What other cultural
So what
solutions
else?
we have on here besides the one we just added? Do we have like the poster house or any other places?
We have like a general blanket of like funding for
Yeah.
nonprofit organizations.
For culture,
I think so,
yeah, it's this one.
right there.
Do you see
Yeah,
it?
number 33, yeah.
Right, because we have so many,
Yeah.
groups that come in, I think we did highlight a few of them, like the Guild, right? But, and we could update that to specify other groups that have come to meet with us about sort of like funding needs that they have. Is there anyone in particular, Max, that you remember that you wanted to make sure
No, I'm just,
got put on this list?
wanna make sure if we're calling that specifically the that cultural institution.
Yeah.
So make sure it's just a fairness, we call it other ones too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alright, so, I mean, you guys wanna make the bridge number 1 and then this string over.
Kitchen.
I'm sorry.
Kitchen.
Kitchen. And keep them lost. Especially when they're doing completely different things. Yeah, we can do that.
Does anyone else just, I know with new members, you know, there's only been a handful of meetings, but I'm trying to think also if there are other groups that have come since.
We
We've
have
been
the
meeting.
art mural group.
That's right,
That was,
right,
and there was the film festival.
Chelsea.
And
Chelsea.
was this the mental health clinic that just opened or the housing, was that Triple HS or?
That's Triple H.
Yeah.
Your lane.
I know, trust me, I'm in that lane too tomorrow, you know?
Yeah. I remember the Chelsea Film Festival did have a funding need. Did the mural group have something that they were looking for like locations?
Funding, right, just.
They were like, do you have ideas for?
Workshops, things like that, yeah,
Yeah,
but the film festival was, I think, 'cause they
yeah,
missed.
I mean, it would be nice for the art organization to have city designated space to install murals. That would be a win, but that's not gonna be like a capital or expense, that'd be like a,
right,
we should think about writing a letter or something.
right,
For something.
right, right.
Did we talk about that, about publicly owned buildings?
Yeah,
Letter?
yeah, so, I think like looking forward and creating agendas, a lot of people gave some really good ideas about some topics we wanna have, and art murals is on it, so great, continue that. But other groups, I'm trying to think as well, we can also go back and take a look and see, but.
Yeah, so we had these two, just real quickly, we had this general one for.
Yeah.
ECA, and then this one that's been on our agenda, I mean, I've been on this thing for us forever. Which is this media, this survey or study, I think, or something along those lines.
Is it not keeping it on?
So we had DCLA
They
come,
a while ago.
but it's a different agency, it wasn't the mayor's office of media and entertainment.
Yeah.
DCLA came and I think they were the ones that actually.
No, it was one person.
But this is even older than what.
Yeah, this is the update, it used to be DC and then we changed.
Oh,
it
it was
when
this,
was
okay.
Yeah, alright, so, I mean, yeah, I don't know if it. Again, we have to remind ourselves, it's gonna be on there with. Let's say if we did. The kitchen. The general DCA funding, or we list the other organizations, then it would be something along to this. That'd be the three. And I guess it would technically be the one, because the mayor's office would be entertainment.
Yeah, I think one of the things, you know, we engaged quite a bit with the art building in Chelsea. That they were facing eviction essentially in terms of the space and the building was being sold. I do think that this particular item here, you know, helps sort of at least understand sort of like. Sort of what the economic pressures are of these smaller, you know, whether it's an art space or an independent theater, I think it's important for us to just push that because it continues to be a challenge for our theater groups and our artists to live here and work here, so. And that's a very relevant thing that happened in this last year with the arts building in Chelsea and what they were going through, so I would wanna keep something like this on our document.
I agree,
So I'm sorry, I was saying agency. Cause
Sorry?
there was,
Yeah.
cause there was responses to remove the request.
Yeah, no, so don't.
It's like a drop down.
Don't pay attention.
Okay.
You don't care what they say.
Infuriating. No, so like these, the Department of City Planning is actually an agency, in the grand scheme of organizing all this. Department of City Planning is actually the agency that oversees this entire process for the community members. It was one individual who actually is a fantastic advocate for our community boards getting better answers. But there was a group of folks at TCP that thought it'd be helpful to put in the statement, remove requests. You know, to basically inform community boards that they should remove the requests based on the committees, based on the agency's response. There's a lot of, obviously a lot of pushback from me on what to do with our requests. So they won't be doing that anymore, you're not gonna be seeing remove the requests. It was, I think it was like one of those things that was thought of like in a bubble and then thinking that it would somehow be helpful for community boards and not insulting.
okay, so for the kitchen, we're asking though for the 75,000, was it for the school programs plus extra staffing and then
Well, so but the 30 million is capital,
capital,
so
yes.
that would jump
different
over the.
things.
What agency is that?
Well, that's a good question. I think we have to keep it, I mean. Right now it's with DDC, so from my understanding, it's with DDC, so I'd say it's with DDC. You know, I understand they want it with EDC, but if you send it to EDC, they're gonna say,
Right.
we have no clue what you're talking about, it's not our project. And so I think you say it's DDC. And capital.
So we're making it number one just based on the size of the ask?
Well, it would be, again, this is what this is the hard thing to remember. The priorities don't really matter right now because you're doing an agency. There's no other agents, there's no other request to my knowledge you guys are making to the DDC.
Got it.
Which is the construction arm of the city.
Okay.
So it'd be number one for DDC. It would be for capital, the expense, the education, that would be, I guess, what was that, DC? Would that, is that
I
cultural?
don't know, it could be DYCD or it could be DCLA.
I mean, we have to clarify that, because we'll get it from her, where where they be pulling the 75.
I can actually I can just see where they currently get it.
Okay, that'd be great.
Yeah.
So then it could be, if it's DYCD, then it'd be number one for DYCD for us. And then if it's but if it's not, if it's the cultural, if it's from DCA, then you would need to decide whether it should be number one on DCA, because you've got the other two.
What else is on DCA?
Well, right now you've got this one,
Oh, great.
Yeah, that's sort of,
so it'd be two to DCA, right? I mean, let's just say hypothetically.
and again, some of this we could fit it,
You could
right?
fold that in.
Yeah, we
So
could.
it wouldn't actually, yeah. You're
That's
right.
what I was actually
You're right.
thinking you would do, you would just add the kitchen.
We add the kitchen.
At this point.
Yeah, that makes sense. It looks better anyway, because you're adding it on different thing.
Yeah,
Okay, so then you wouldn't have a problem now. This is gonna be a spaghetti, on my end, sorry. I'm just realizing that. But just because I have to do, we have to deliver, each of these committees has to deliver a list of priorities based on agency to the budget task force.
It's a little reconciling.
And then it's gonna have to be a way of doing that to the full board. It's just very different than what we used to do. It's better, but it's more work.
It's more work,
Yeah.
so I'm assuming that anything having to do with the colored girls school will be under blue. And they're gonna be.
Oh, yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, because we,
Well. Yes, in the sense that that's the committee that's. Has the lead, but again, technically, it's the Department of Sanitation.
right,
It's not in the building. So, I mean,
Is that the 17th Street School, the Sarah J.
Yes.
Garnett?
Yes.
So,
they haven't decided how they're gonna utilize the space, but it should be something cultural, so that's why. It's something that we should.
yeah, I just, I mean, you could do it, I would just not make it your top priority.
Right.
Again, it's way too early. Like, if it was with the Department of Culture Affairs, I'd say yes, but it's like, they're not even there yet, so it's like, I feel like, they're gonna give you some kind of cultural answer.
Well, so maybe it's not time then.
Yeah. I mean, I think we should support, I'm assuming it would get, I'm baffled if food is not say something about it.
Right.
And then, so we can just double down on that, saying it supports foodies.
Okay. Class.
I have a separate question, but I've been hearing, or it's been circulating about this Hudson Yard School. Is there any information about it, any new information about it?
I know.
Oh.
But that's not to say, it's not because we haven't been asking,
Okay,
it's just too early and no, I don't think it's gotten to that point yet where there's any information to share. But, let's keep asking, because I know it's something that I've been bringing up at various meetings about, the Western Rail Yards, but now that has actually now moved on to sort of the next phase and what that will look like, I think hopefully things will start to move forward with a little more sort of, hopefully we'll get more information soon on. And it's a good thing actually, as we think about sort of the meetings and topics we wanna have for future meeting agendas, like, think about adding to it. So I think that takes us, I mean, are there other questions, anything about expense? I mean, I think we will, you know, make some slight edits to this, just to update it to reflect some of the conversations that we've had with groups. What has them tonight and also previous committee meetings, but, I think, is there any other questions regarding the expense list that we have?
Well, I guess I'm not clear,
Yeah.
about the existing for DOE. Just generally, what are you guys thinking for your top three expenses for DOE? Is it, because it was last, as Josephine mentioned, that with Kelly, right, it was the after school programs, right?
3K
3K
and tech.
and tech, right, so that's, I guess my question, tech is.
Go down one, expand funding to maintain student technology.
We can check on both.
I mean, tech is definitely capital.
Okay, so why don't we remove that? And so, and then
I'm
we
just
put it
saying
into capital.
If there's anything about software.
That's right, because there's always software
That's the
updates.
thing,
Right,
that's the thing that I think,
right, that's what we always had.
So we
Right.
combined it for the sake of combining it, but it actually. You're saying we want to.
more like Wi-Fi, you know,
Right.
things like that would not be,
Yeah,
that would, that's expense, so Wi-Fi and software.
So maybe just cleaning.
Just
this
clean
up.
that up,
Cleaning
yeah.
this up, so. So, yeah, we can put a tech. We have it down as tech is number 3 or 4 of the capital, so we'll put the tech, that's. The capital tech into that category. So yeah, I just want to make sure what these guys are all gonna be voting on about expenses DOE wise, that's what we're saying.
Yeah, so. It's the after school programming, the sorry, the.
3K.
3K. And then this. This tech question,
The
right?
expense tech.
The expense, software Wi-Fi.
Software, okay.
Does that sound, everyone on board? Okay,
I'm sorry, what was our 3 for capital again?
so it's going to be the PS 33. The class size mandates and those modifications, and then, the third one was the technology for more of the schools to receive like the laptops and.
You just thinking about the PS33 problem, I feel like there's going to be a lot of consumables. As part of it, so not, maybe we don't need to look at it just from a capital perspective. But all of the things that they're going to need to maintain any upgrades to mitigation strategies they have, filter replacements. You know, like cleaning, stuff like that, we should probably advocate on the expense side as well.
That's management, I would include that's. That's it.
That is this one or the next one?
Yeah.
I feel like it's a critical issue, so, and they're starting, well, I'm hearing different stories about when it's gonna start, but we should be prepared and. Having lived through construction at a school site, you just churn through this stuff.
No, it's a very good point, actually.
I mean, I think we can add that on to the expense side after, if you wanna do it. I still think after school. 3K is, I mean, I would maybe make it 3 in terms of the expense side, you guys wanna do that?
Well, no, I'm not suggesting 33's expense, like boot out something else from the priority list, but maybe consider it as a
Yeah,
board.
yeah, put it on as a 4, no, I
Okay.
agree, because,
Just what would be the item, like, in terms of the expense that 33 would need?
Air conditioning filters, right?
maintenance, right?
Right,
yes,
The
all of
maintenance
this.
of it.
Pest management,
Right.
all those external filters, if they happen to get classroom air filters as well. Right, like the HEPA filters, you have to replace those every 60 days.
Or those air, sensors.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, expense is usually seen as either staffing or.
Yeah.
So I think if you keep it in the language of staffing and maintenance of the mitigations. I think that makes sense, like we did that with elevator maintenance for night shift for years, because the whole issue was this two-pronged issue, which is elevators break down all the time in our night shift buildings. you know, and it sucks, and we can advocate for millions of dollar projects, billions of dollar projects to replace the elevators, and on the other side of it, there's no training, there's no one who actually being trained and hired up to maintain the elevators, and so we always would have these dualities, so I think that kind of, if we use that same concept here, I think that makes sense.
Yep. Yeah, so we'll put together language to talk about sort of the maintenance of those capital stuff, for PS33.
So we should report that to you, and Shanice. Okay, Matt, do you want?
Yeah, so I'll draft language. Jesse, what do you need do you need?
I need for this, I just need a vote.
You just need the vote, okay.
I mean, then I actually need something like, I mean, I can put together some ideas of what I have, but I think if you guys have language that you guys wanna work on, then
Yeah.
that'd be helpful.
Okay.
You don't have to worry about it turning it into pages, I will deal with the formatting of it, turning it into a
Okay,
page.
yeah,
Okay, you know, that kind of.
So. Any questions? I mean, I could recap sort of, I feel like we just kind of summarized a little bit, but basically, you know, we will put together our top 3 priorities for the capital would be PS33 related to the venture development. We have the class size matters, reduction modifications, and then the technology for the school bundle. And then keeping our list intact for the capital side of things as well. And then on the expense side, we've got the pre-K, the after school, and then we also have the maintenance. Well, actually, no, that's not gonna be part of the technology for the software. So. Can I have a motion to approve? Second, okay. I think that's unanimous. Any abstentions? Okay, Maria?
You vote?
No, I didn't, sorry. Yes, I was listening, but I mean, I was listening, yes, to what you said.
Okay. So the motion passes. We will put together that language. Excellent, thank you.
While we're on the topic of this air quality issue, we had about a year ago, we got an email from parents at Beacon High School. And they were talking about poor air quality there because there's a taxi stand that's right downstairs. They've been doing this, by the way, since the inception of the building, right? And so there's constantly exhaust coming up. So they have all these filters that they're using, and apparently they have third party coming in and testing, which by the way is what they also said they were gonna do, facilities that they're gonna do for PS33. And apparently they're still having an issue. So I would love to have facilities come, if they will come, to discuss what's happening at Beacon. So we have some understanding of what these filters really mean. And are they really going to be up to standards for when this construction project is happening? Maybe during phase 1, when the building's, you know, further down. But I just really want to get a sense of that because it seems, it's like the same. I went back and looked up the email that we had gotten, and it seemed like the same kind of filters that they were saying that they were going to do PS33. So I'm a little bit concerned. And I
So
would
you
love
heard from the principal or somebody, yes, from Beacon recently?
parents,
Like, that's on the list.
no, I tried to get a parent to come and discuss it, and she didn't come, so I'm just thinking maybe it'd be better if we had facilities anyway. They would be open to a conversation about that.
But from a perspective of just in general about the filters, not Beacon in specific.
Right, we can start.
Well, I no, I was asking, would the focus be on Beacon or is it, and I understand your point that
Yes,
what they're doing at Beacon might have relevance to what
Yes.
they're doing at PS33.
Right.
I think it might be a hard lead for them
right,
to admit that or deal with that, so.
yes,
My thought is that if we were trying to get Beacon, and which I actually have on my list as well, because like, we haven't heard from them
right.
in a long time, I wanted to follow up with Eric's office about that. Okay. Could you write me up something?
Sure,
A couple
of
of
course.
things that always likes to
Yes.
be able to say, the committee asked that in this conversation, so I can. Okay, sounds good. I had one last thing, but whenever you guys.
Yes.
Yeah, anything?
Have you guys interfaced with transportation? Like, say Christine, can you maybe try and advocate to get this taxi stand moved?
No, it's not a stand, it's a full on garage.
Yeah.
Oh,
Brick and
okay,
mortar.
okay.
No, and they were, just to be true, just be blunt, just be true, like honest, they were there way before the school was built.
Okay.
We chose to build a school next to them. So, like, it's the kids should still not be having headaches, and teachers, unions
Right.
should not still be involved in being, pulling their teachers saying that it's an unhealthy situation. But, you know, the taxi garage has been there forever, and most likely will be there for a while. They might not do everything by the book, meaning like spray painting their cars and all that stuff. I can't speak for that.
Is there any possibility to have them come and talk to us?
Okay.
No.
Pretty easier for us to go there.
Okay.
But I think yeah, I mean, this DOE Tweed was involved in that, so I think that from that perspective, we should get them back involved, like, we should find out what's going on, they did all this testing and all that stuff, it's 100% sure.
I don't hear we still have Mike who has something.
Josie, did you?
Well, I just wanted, let's let Mike go, and then, because it's just more of an operational thing.
I have one thing on the,
Yes.
Oh, sorry.
budget that I was thinking about what Kelly said. He mentioned just a overall concern about all of the open positions for paraprofessionals and teachers. Is there anything that we can do to help that, or anything that we can ask for to?
We could certainly, well, I don't know what we can do to help them if we can get the word out.
Yeah,
I mean,
okay.
we have a jobs board, and you send stuff out, when they people do lists, I can certainly check the guys if there's a jobs description that they provide, if they were out to look, so.
That's it.
All right, Mike, was that Mike? Yeah.
Hi, everybody. For those of you who are new and don't know me, I just wanted to introduce myself. I'm Mike Freeman, and I have for years been advocating for the inclusion of local musicians on programming at new venues, parks, and building complexes in the neighborhood. So one of the things I started working on about a year ago was Manhattan West. And I'm wondering what anybody knows about Manhattan West. I was able to get through to the people who book their summer music series on the plaza, but it's being booked by Brookfield Property. Is Manhattan West owned by Brookfield Property?
Yes,
Does anybody know?
yes. It is.
Okay, so I started about a year ago, and the people that are booking the music series there have been very dismissive of my concerns or my efforts. And I'm wondering if you guys have any suggestions on how I might make some actual change happen there. Is there someone above them that I could go to, or would the community board be able to advocate that position to somebody to try to make some actual change happen in that regard?
I can certainly try, Mike. Those that you know, our offices used to be in Manhattan West, and so as of like 2 weeks ago, and I'm happy to try to create some inroads on it in that for you.
Okay, yeah, that would be great. That's basically what I was trying to see, because this is a time of year where you have to start trying to contact these people for next summer's programming.
Sure.
And that's the reason why I'm bringing it up now.
I think it would also be helpful for me to put you in touch with them. So bizarrely, Manhattan West, that super block is actually overlaps with the 34th Street Partnership bid, which is very bizarre. If you look at the map, it's a very bizarre map for that. But nonetheless, you know, obviously, as you know, bids have a lot of, do a lot of programming as well. And they're way beyond our borders. So, I'll try to connect you to the development bid as well.
Okay, that would be great. Isn't 34th Partnership in charge of Bryant Park?
Yes.
Yeah, it just extends very far west. Their boundary lines.
Huh.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, if you could get me in touch with somebody there, that would be great.
Yeah, just shoot me an email. I will do my best.
Either Manhattan or, I'm sorry, Brookfield Properties or 34th Street Partnership or both. Both would be great.
Yep.
And just a quick follow-up on what I was contacting you about a couple of months ago, as far as finding a theater. I did find a place, and we'll be doing a performance November 13th at the Dementis Center, which I'll come back next month and remind everybody about.
Yeah.
Great. Awesome.
Very
Good
cool.
job.
Very good.
If you got a flyer, is it free, Mike, or is it?
Yeah, it's a free concert, yes, and I got a flyer.
Please send us whatever promotional stuff and we can make sure we put it in our newsletter.
And Mike, just a quick point, if you're not already in contact with them, reach out to Friends of Chelsea Green. That park on 20th Street, I know they do a concert series as well and they try to source local musicians, and dancers only. So they're definitely worth talking to.
Okay, great. I'll see if you have any contact information for them too, that would be great.
Yeah, we can do that.
Certainly.
That's all I had. Thanks.
Thanks, Mike. Thanks, Mike.
So I'll be real quick. I sent this to you guys already, to the co-chair, but so, just real quickly, so this is our new space. All the committee, I'm hoping that all the committees will be here until we get our new space. So the way it works is that the space is a community room for this building, so during the day it gets used for all sorts of stuff, but they've given us pretty much free access at night. I would hope that, every time we are here as a committee, I'm here. And so if I'm here, then that's all fine, I can set up and then break down, but I'm asking other committees to do this, I'm gonna tell you this for this committee as well. If there's by chance a time that I'm not here, we have to break this all down, which is just the tactical, that's what I'm talking about. And so, I sent out a memo to the co-chairs, I can spread it to everybody for next and everybody, but so I'm gonna ask basically either co-chairs to do it, or maybe someone from the committee can volunteer to be the person who breaks it down. And really easy, there's that locker right there, that's a little file cabinet locker, it's got a key. Each drawer has, you put things, the laptop, the projector and the owl in each drawer, and look that up. And then there's a little pouch to the front door, and you can drop the key off the pouch and get it back, and that's how it's gonna work until someone forgets to.
And we don't. You don't touch the.
We don't touch the screen. Yeah, we don't touch the screen, supposedly the screen is not worthy of having to be broken down, which is fantastic, because it was a bit of a pain in the butt to break down and set up. So yeah, so that's the only thing.
Is it just the equipment or the wiring too?
Everything, everything included, the wiring, the plug, everything is us, basically.
No problem, we got it.
Thank you.
And so what's happening with the new space?
I mean, every week it gets a little bit better, so we were supposed to be in there already, obviously, that was the plan. Yeah, so I mean, it should be ready, I mean, we're hoping the punch list should be in December and we're moving in January, and I hope that's, that becomes true. So what?
Where is that?
It's at 630 9th Avenue, which is 44th, between 44th and 45th on 9th Avenue, and it's what's called the Film Center building. It's a great old building. The lobby is one of the few buildings in our district that's got an interior landmarking. It's an Aztec designed, like themed lobby. So you like walk past the building a billion times, like, okay, it's a beautiful, building, but you go inside, this lobby is like out of this world.
You said 436 9th.
630.
6-9.
So the lobby is beautiful, but it used to be what's called the Film Center building. It used to be like literally the mecca of when the film industry was in actual New York City. So it's got this amazing infrastructure, all these old vaults that we used to store the films. So to protect them, keep them from the temperatures and all that stuff. And then fires too, they had this amazing
Board resolutions.
What?
We'll keep board resolution.
Yeah, exactly. Board resolutions. And then there's an amazing water tank system that's still up there because it's too expensive to move. I mean, the cost of moving is not worth it. Yeah, that in case it ever was gonna have a fire, like the whole building would be like cooled down by this water system, so the film would never like bubble over. So it's kept to its form, there's a lot of post-production work there, there's a lot of
Casting there.
casting,
Yeah.
there's a lot of podcasting. I've seen Alec Baldwin going, he used to do his podcast there, like he's, you know, you stand outside of that building for like, I had to because of when I was waiting to see the spot, I had to wait for people to show up. Like you stand out there for about 30 minutes, you'll see like famous people going in and out all the time, talented and famous. And so, yeah, we're excited, because we haven't had, very brief history on us, we haven't had like our own lease, long-term lease to a place since before I started, which was in 2015. So like, yeah, we were a subtenant to a master tenant, so we were never able to like actually negotiate, figure out like what the deal was. And then we got evicted, literally evicted in the middle of COVID. And so we've been temporary, place that you guys all know is our home the last few years, but that's dried up obviously. And so this will be 15-year lease for us. It's a nice feeling, it will be somewhat.
When did-
official.
When did you say we can start going to meetings there? I missed that.
Say again? January next year.
Oh, man. Okay.
Trust me, no one will, yeah.
Well, it's around the corner where we've had our full board meetings at that Union auditorium.
Yeah.
Right
And it's-
across the wall.
Yeah, and it's gonna have a room this size for committee meetings. It's got one pillar in it, which is the bane of my existence. So, you know, I can only do so many miracles. It all revolves around the stupid HVAC system that we couldn't get them to agree to, and then they finally agreed to it, and I was like, well, if you told us that beforehand, we wouldn't have to have the space for the pillar, but anyway. But yeah, but we'll have a committee room with tech built in, so we don't have to do this, which is another big cost. Yeah, so it'll be all like,
That's great.
yeah,
Speaking of film, were we supposed to go on a field trip?
we were, yeah, for M&N, right?
Yes,
Yes,
yes.
we're supposed to do a field trip.
We should do that field
We
trip.
should do that, now that we've made this jump finally, yeah, the last month has been very rough.
Oh,
So I think,
yeah.
but yeah, we should do that for sure. And I also think we should do I'm kicking myself, no, I will be kicking myself, so I'm not offering that, but the field trip. Exactly. Yeah, start with that, one thing at a time. Yeah, but M&M will be fun. Cool. Great.
Anything else?
It's a question, because I'm not sure if it's ACES or HHS or WPE sanitation.
WP.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw Quentin was on as one of the attendees earlier, and there's a lot of sanitation issues in our neighborhood, so.
Yeah.
I'll bring that up at the other.
If it's enforcement stuff, if it's basic enforcement, please like to send me, you can feel free to send me. You don't have to, but feel free to, because I'm in touch with enforcement all the time. If it's more complicated, then feel free to bring it to WP as a topic, you know, yeah. Great, well, thank you, Jesse.
Well, to adjourn.
So, alrighty.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks.